Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbi ja'alni muqimus salata wa min zurriyati rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Rabbana ighfirli wa lil walidayya wa lil mu'minina yawma yaqumul hisab. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضه وادخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome friends. Inshallah we will continue with the rays. This is the 15th ray, page 629 in the book, going through the stages of understanding divine power. The author has been sharing his viewpoints. Last time we discussed about the essence, how it is the otherness of the essence. We focused on that last time. I'm just seeing the examples. Yeah, so nothing in this universe has any power, quality to itself. And we discussed what the dependency meant. Contingency, meaning being dependent on an absolute being. So everything else is like a zero number versus one being the absolute ownership or absolute power. Everything else that is in existence is dependent on that absolute being. So we did discuss quite a bit on that last time. So we'll continue with the sixth step. Through the mystery of the transformation of obstacles and impediments into means of facility. The transformation of obstacles and impediments looks extremely difficult into means of facility. But everything comes very smoothly, easily. For example, a hard seed like the date seed, when put in the soil, it looks as if impossible that it will break and come into a shoot, a little plant, and then grow into a tree, coming from some completely different nature of the soil or the seed. Looks very difficult, but then it becomes facilitated. So let's see what the author shares here. Through a law of the manifestation of divine will, called in science the knot of life, the knot of life, and of the creational command, and through the command and will being turned towards them, through the command and will being turned towards them. The unconscious branches and hard twigs of a huge tree do not form obstacles or impediments to the necessary substances and foods which pass to its fruits, leaves, and flowers from the knot of life, which is like the tree's mainspring and stomach. Indeed, they facilitate the process. So I think by what the author refers to here, the knot of life, is like the roots that are inside the soil. Knot of life. Was anybody any comment on this?
Yes, that was me. Assalamu alaikum. What facilitates the knot of life?
Yeah, so I didn't study in science or anything with knot of life, but I do understand the way he's saying that knot of life, which is like the tree's mainspring. So the roots are very important to the growth of a tree. So solid foundational roots. And if you look at the roots physically under this tree, it's incredibly complex and how they're intermingled. It seems impossible anything would flow from those roots into the leaves and the branches and the fruits and the flowers that we see on the tree. So it's a very intricate kind of setup. As the author says, like the unconscious branches and hard twigs of a huge tree do not form obstacles or impediments to the necessary substances and foods which pass to its fruits, leaves, and flowers. From the knot of life, which is like the tree's mainspring and stomach, indeed, they facilitate the process. Of course, I'm imagining this to be like an analogy the author is giving on how the divine power operates. An
Can you
example
please,
of it.
sorry,
Yeah.
Bhai, can you please go to the previous page?
Okay.
Let me just see what this is about. Through a law of the manifestation of divine will called in science. Oh, okay, so the knot of life, as in like the interconnectedness of things, the creational command, but then how things are like connected seems follow an order, but then the existence part could be the creational command, and through the command and will being turned towards them. The unconscious branches and hard twigs of a huge tree do not form obstacles or impediments to the necessary. Yeah, you can go to the next page, please. Necessary substances and food which pass to its fruits, leaves, and flowers. Wow, I have no clue. It's a long sentence, but I sort of understood the beginning.
You understood the beginning? Very good.
Oh my God.
So he says, like, all of these things that are happening in the universe is like a mystery if we really think about them. So all those complex things that are happening, for example, the atmosphere, rain, and just like the tree example, the roots, how the way they are so intertwined, intermingled, and just wrapping all over in different areas of the soil, and then how is the food to the leaves and how is that facilitated? So it's just something for us to reflect on, to think about. I mean, of course, they don't know anything. The roots cannot act by themselves, right? So some command and will is making them turn towards whatever the whole needs of the tree. So the fruits, the branches, the flowers that need the substances and foods which pass to its fruits, leaves, and flowers. But they pass through what? The knot of life, which is, I think, the roots, which is like the tree's mainspring and stomach.
That makes sense. Thank you, alhamdulillah. So yeah, so I think it's sort of pinpointing how things are set up, even in the creation of a fruit through the roots, trees, and all that, and everything gets its nutrition. I mean, the whole system is set up this way, so it's amazing how things are facilitated like this. And now we can continue. Thank you. In just the same way.
Sure, if anybody has other comments to add anything, please, you can take the mic as well. But we can come back always. So in just the same way, so now that we understand that example of how the food travels through the tree, the roots of the tree to the other branches and fruits. But before we go to the comparison, let's hear from Brother Ali.
I have been trying to understand this transformation of obstacles and impediments into means of facility. Now, as the text says, science means not in general, materialistic approach and interpretation of science invented with word, the note of life, which is really what I understand from here. They keep saying that every being wants to survive. Why? Every living being wants to improve its living conditions or its own existence. Why? And that is intrinsic in them, they say. Where did you get it? Intrinsic in them, where? In atom? In particles? This is just a way of explaining away, just making an excuse, not admit in order to not admit that, for example, the seed will crack and some of the shoots will go down, some of them up, and in the soil, it will grow and really the obstacles and hindrance will be disseminated because they want to survive. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because the matter doesn't have any quality to choose, to decide. What do you mean by instinctive? Well, they are created in this way. They are given these qualities by their creator, but they cannot have instinct by themselves and try to implement this instinct, realize this instinct through application of free will. There's no free will, that everything is directly connected to the order of the universe or the will of the creator of the universe. They cannot have any free choice. They have no quality. That is the note of life, which is I understood in Arabic, Uqdatul Haya. Just a made-up language. So we should understand that everything is created with their own qualities, together with their own qualities. They don't have it, and they cannot, by themselves, control their qualities and follow their qualities in their creation. For example, my body is created in this way, and that is why the creator continues its existence, sustains its existence with the qualities that I'm experiencing now. Otherwise, as if something is operating within me, in my atoms, in my cells, that I'm going to make this body of Ali grow perfectly or try to survive. They have no choice. That is what I think this sixth step will be all about. I'm guessing this. Thank you.
It's interesting. Thank you for sharing your thoughts while you were speaking. I was realizing or just wondering, things start with really pondering over things, like anything that we interact with. So what's going on, really? What is going on? How are things sustained? How anything really is being sustained or brought into existence. And from there we can get a notion of a source of existence. From, hey, what's going on? How is it happening? Yeah, I just wanted to share my reflections. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So the language we hear, like everything wants to survive, as Brother Ali was sharing. Yeah, that's correct. Because I don't hear anymore the knot of life in science anymore. It's not used. But everybody wants to live and survive is more like as if they're given this quality, but nobody questions that they're given, or it's just within them. But from where are they coming is the question. Who gave them? Where is it? So yeah, so a made up kind of idea. Hold on one second. All right, let me continue. Okay. So in just the same way, since all potential obstacles in the creation of the universe, all potential obstacles in the creation of the universe and creatures cease being obstacles in the face of a manifestation of will and regard of the dominical command, and become means of facility. Eternal power creates the universe and all the species of creatures on the earth as easily as creating a single tree. A lot of background noise. I hope you're not hearing that. Sorry about that. All right. Eternal power creates the universe and all the species of creatures on the earth as easily as creating a single tree. Nothing at all is difficult for it, for this eternal power. If all those acts of creation are not ascribed to that power, if all those acts of creation are not ascribed to that power, then the creation and administration of the single tree would be as difficult as the creation and administration of all trees. If all those acts of creation are not ascribed to that eternal power, then the creation and administration of the single tree would be as difficult as the creation and administration of all trees. Indeed, as the universe, the creation, indeed as difficult as the creation and administration of the universe. So even for one act of creation needs eternal power. It must be so. So for one particle to exist, if it's not eternal power, then nothing in the universe can exist. So if one particle is able to exist through eternal power, then the whole universe can exist via this eternal power. So that is the reasoning behind the argument of the author. For then everything would become obstacles and obstructions. And if all causes were to gather together, they could not send the necessary sustenance of the fruits to the fruits, leaves, branches, and twigs in orderly, regular fashion from the stomach and mainspring of a tree's quote unquote knot of life, which proceeds from command and will. Unless all the parts of the tree and all its particles even were given an eye, all-encompassing knowledge, and wondrous power which would see the entire tree together with its parts and particles and know them and assist them. So every part of the tree or every particle needs to have an all-encompassing knowledge, some power which would see the entire tree together with all its parts and particles, and that is not the case. It's impossible. And know them, and that's so. All the scientists, when they say the tree has its own qualities, this makes no sense, because every particle of the tree wouldn't have to know the whole tree and everything that goes along with it. It would have to know the whole universe. In fact, we have to know how the atmosphere is, what the conditions of the water is, soil is. So that's why eternal power is necessary. Any comments on this paragraph? So climb these 5 steps and take a look. So 5 steps, these 5 stages of reasoning we have been going through. But before I go there, Brother Ali, go ahead.
I don't know whether you would agree or not. I would say, think about it. If I take, let's say, orange tree or orange seed and sow it in a place other than its own growing place, and see that if the atmosphere and the conditions, the orange tree will really adjust itself to the new climate atmosphere and become an apricot tree. I mean, orange is orange. It is perfect. Orange tree is perfect in its own existence. And next to orange tree, we can see, for example, tangerine tree or apple tree. And they are growing in the same atmosphere, climate, same conditions, earth conditions, water and other minerals of water, and they keep being apricot is apricot, orange is orange, doesn't change. How do they explain this? I'm puzzled. The DNA in the cell developed by itself, according to what? By adapting itself to the environment. But I've never seen any living being adapting itself and becoming not an orange juice, but like apple juice or another creature, another tree, type tree. No, they are the same. They never change. I don't know. I'm puzzled how people explain and say that it is natural development or progress within themselves, evolving in different ways. But different species live in the same atmosphere. Why don't they become one? Or why haven't they become one type of tree because of the best atmosphere is appropriate for orange, for example, not apricot. No, everything has its own individual characteristics and continue being existed according to their individual way of characteristics that the creator has decided to choose them.
Yes. So are you done, Brother Ali, or you have more comments?
I'm done. I wondered how they explain and
Yeah.
convince themselves. I don't know.
Yes.
I have no reason about it.
I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. You're right. I mean, I don't know how they live with that understanding. The smart scientists, so-called smart.
6 million different living beings existed. Each of them is perfect in its existence. Perfect in its existence. But by putting these things look like each other, similar, somehow similar, but different species, and saying that, look, it is transformed from this fish into similar one with another creature, which is perfect when it is itself, and it still exists, into birth, ultimately. How? Just made up story. There, I use this example of a museum. Go to a, let's say, a computer museum. You know, every 6 months, a special design computer, specially designed, one quality ahead, it means improved, by a special engineer. And if I take them and exhibit them in a museum, computer museum, I will say they look like each other. They look like, but a bit as if they themselves are progressing and becoming the computer that exists now. I don't know what is that, but the most developed computer. And this is the reason. But look, they are adapting themselves and improving themselves through their intrinsic improvement. The computer is not alive, I understand, but even the living beings, they are as they are. Millions years ago, they found out fossils, and they are as perfect as they are now. But they say similar ones, it must have developed from this into this. This is just personal speculation, I feel, not to not to accept the creator and try to explain the existence of anything in this world within itself. Because if there was an external agent, definitely this idea will take us to accept the external agent of the universe, who is the creator of the universe and arranges everything accordingly, according to his qualities, and demonstrating himself to me. But in order not to go there, because ultimately it means I am created. It means they are created. So they have to acknowledge their creator. They are created, or human beings or any other beings are created by a conscious being, necessitates they have to acknowledge that their life, their creation, existence all the things that they are benefiting from the world is the grace of this creator. So human consciousness forces human beings to be thankful, to acknowledge, and to be thankful to the creator. Don't credit for the qualities you are created with for yourself. You didn't develop it, you found it. And you cannot say that it is accidental because you cannot really see any change in the perfect creation of each being. That is just made up story, I think. Excuse, like saying intrinsic to nature of the living beings to survive, to continue their generation. Why? Why should I bother? By myself. But I am created with this quality. That's why every animal or plant are created with the desire to continue their generation automatically. Animals, for example, have their, if you like, babies, their young ones, automatically they are created in this way. Not because they are really deliberately want and have or desire to have children. No, they are created automatically like this. Only the human beings are given freedom to do this way or another way. The other animals, no, they automatically do it because they are created with this quality.
Inshallah, maybe learn to use our consciousness. All right, so continuing on. So climb these 5 steps and take a look. See what difficulties, indeed, impossibilities, are present in unbelief and associating partners with God. Oh. And how distant they are from reason and logic, and how precluded they are. Then see what ease there is on the way of the Quran. Ease on the way of the Quran. Indeed, that its facility is at the degree of necessity, and how acceptable and reasonable the Quran is, and what certain and satisfying truth is found on its way, so certain as to be necessary. Understand this and say all praise be to God for the bounty of belief. So in this concluding paragraph, he brings out the notion of belief and unbelief based on our observation of the manifestation of divine qualities, divine power in the universe, and how the interpretation and just running away by using phrases that have no sense to themselves, not seeing that things are coming, need an eternal power behind them. So this is difficulty, he said, in how distant from present in unbelief and associating. See what difficulties, impossibilities are present in unbelief. So what kind of difficulties and impossibilities are in unbelief? So just living with the understanding that the things have their own qualities to themselves, what does that do to me in my life? How does that impact me? Then I will put all my hopes and expectations on the things themselves, I wouldn't live in a comfortable, because everything is very difficult and seemingly we don't know what they will decide if everything has their own will and power. Whereas with belief from reasoning and logic, everything becomes easy, facilitated, because everything is pointing to the absolute owner, absolute creator, absolute power, infinite power. And degree of necessity, at the degree of necessity, it must be so. That it is absolute power that is responsible for all what we see in the universe. So that's why we understand this, alhamdulillah, for the bounty of belief. The bounty of belief, which is another gift to us to live a comfortable life. Brother Ali, go ahead.
The term associating partners with God means thinking that, imagining that matter itself has infinite qualities to form itself into certain beings like animals, plants, or galaxies. In order to be able to do that, they have to have the knowledge, power, everything, free will, choice, the power of choice, to make themselves appropriately existing within the whole order of the universe. This quality the matter must have this quality. It means matter must be absolutely powerful, absolutely knowledgeable, have an absolute freedom, limitless freedom to perform what he knows. The matter, I don't know. It is matter, and you know matter has no quality. It is just, it just exists as it is given existence and cannot really choose in another way. Like me, for example. I am created as I am. I cannot choose to become a tree or to become a cat. I cannot. I am created as I am. So my DNA also is coded to show that it is creator knows what he is going to create. Otherwise, DNA cannot form itself and become perfect. There is no reason, because the material side of DNA, whatever the particles or the elements it has in its body, they have no choice. They have no quality of choosing, knowing, or having a power to implement what they want, what they want to become. There is no such thing, just matter. So associating partner with God means giving the qualities, attaching the qualities to lifeless, dumb matter, absolute quality, so that each of them will act according to the requirements of the entire universe. Why? Because everything is becoming into existence within the context of the whole universe. That's a problem for my mind to accept.
Yes, thank you, Brother Ali. Let's see, fourth, sixth step. Okay, and this is the seventh step now. Any other comments by anyone?
Wait, what was the point? Sorry, I got cut off a little bit. Uh,
No, we were discussing associating partners with God.
Mm-hmm.
So basically giving any kind of quality to the matter itself, which is like crazy. You know, matter is just matter is like meat or whatever, or something physical, and it's the way it exists, that's it. So we have to be careful on how we understand this universe, ourselves. All right.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll continue on the 7th step. And through the mystery that the particular, the part, the seed, and man are not inferior as regards to the art and eloquence of the star, the universal, the whole, the tree, and the world. So nothing in particular is in any way inferior in terms of the qualities needed or qualities that are found in the bigger, universal, bigger picture, the whole, or the whole universe. It's an interesting mystery because we usually are made to think in this way, that the bigger the thing is, the more difficult, the bigger challenge it is, more qualities may be prevalent in something that is much bigger, and a particle or a seed, a small being, may not be as significant as maybe a huge, I don't know, tree or a mountain. This is everything is the same. So there's nothing is inferior with regards to the art and eloquence between a particular and universal. Note the basis. Yes, Maria, go ahead.
It's interesting how this realization can only happen when I conclude the source of my existence or the source of existence of the universe to be an absolute being. This understanding only happens then because me in this created platform, let's say you're involved in a big project, the bigger the project, the more resources it will take, manpower and all that, the smaller, okay, it can be handled. I'm talking about how things function here in the universe. But then when I conclude something to be an absolute source of existence, and I'm like, wow, it doesn't matter, small, big, a star versus an ant in its creation, coming into existence. It's, it just carries the same meaning, messages, and qualities.
Right, as you said, in their existence, because a seed, physically small thing, star, physically a big thing. But in their existence, they're both amazing. And that's why they're the same. The same absolute power is necessary, absolute knowledge will, for the existence of the seed and the existence of the star. Any other comment? Did you have anything more for you?
No, alhamdulillah, I'm good. Thank you. Sorry to keep cutting you off.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. So note the basis, mind, and sun of the truths contained in these 9 steps. And the verses say he is God, the one, God the eternal and ever besought. Quran section 112, verses 1 and 2. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, eternal and ever besought. They are brief indications to flashes from the manifestation of divine oneness and eternal besottedness. Making one or two points, we shall take a very brief look at the meaning of the seventh step, and for the details, refer you to the risale-i Nur. So he's taking the foundation of Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad for his reasoning here, that everything is coming from an absolute being, a single being, the one on whom everything is dependent upon, who everyone is seeking in our existence. Let's see what the author says. That is, a particle which performs wonderful duties in the eye or brain is not inferior to a star, nor is a part inferior to the whole. For instance, the brain and eye are not inferior to the human being as a whole. So the brain and the eye are not inferior to the human being as a whole, nor with regard to beauty of art. And the marvels of its creation is a particular individual inferior to a universal species. So nor with regard to beauty of art and the marvels of its creation is a particular individual inferior to a universal species. So the individual is the same as the universal species. Nor with his strange members and faculties is a man inferior to all the animal species. Nor in regard to fine craftsmanship and being treasury-like and resembling an index, program, and memory is a seed inferior to a mighty tree. Nor in regard to his creation and wondrous, comprehensive organs and faculties created so as to perform thousands of amazing duties is a man, the microcosm, inferior to the universe. So a few examples in terms of how we see from the universe. This means that the one who creates the particle cannot lack the power to create the star. The one who creates the particle cannot lack the power to create the star. And the one who creates an organ like the tongue certainly easily creates man. So whoever created, let's say in the example, the tongue or my eyes or the pupil can easily create man. And the one who creates a single man thus perfectly surely can create all animals. See, everything is create, giving existence. So everything is speaking from the creation perspective. And the one who creates a single man thus perfectly surely can create all animals. And this he does before our eyes. So we observe it, we see it, we can reason about it. And the one who creates a seed as a list. So the seed as a list, an index, a notebook of the laws issuing from the divine command. So the whole DNA structure, which tells about what the life of the seed is going to be, how it's going to be, is all there according to issued from the divine command. It just isn't there by itself, or the seed doesn't know what it's doing. Everything is set accordingly by the divine command in the way the seed is going to function to be in existence. And as a knot of life, is certainly the creator of all trees. So whatever they call the quote unquote knot of life is certainly the creator of all the trees. The one who facilitates, gives existence, knows about them, has the power. And the one who creates man as a sort of seed of the world and as its comprehensive fruit. So man as a sort of seed of the world is an interesting phrase. Maybe we can discuss that. And as its comprehensive fruit also can be seen, man can be seen as the fruit of the universe, of the world. It makes man the mirror to all divine names and connected to all the universe. So I'm connected with the whole universe and vicegerent of the earth. Vicegerent of the earth. How do I become the vicegerent of the earth? Most certainly possesses such power that he creates the universe as easily as he creates man and sets it in order. In which case, whoever is the creator, maker, and sustainer of the particle, part, particular, individual, seed, and man must be the creator, maker, and sustainer of the stars, species, the whole, universals, trees, and the whole universe. That it should be otherwise is impossible and precluded. All right, any comments on this one?
Can we say that because each of them is not less quality than the bigger ones or seemingly more complicated ones in order to be able to create a tank, absolute power, absolute knowledge, absolute free will are necessary. So in order to create the whole human body is also needs also absolute power, absolute quality. So we cannot say that, oh, it is easy to create tongue than human body, because tongue is completely interrelated, intertwined with the rest of the human body. So the creation of existence of the tongue says the one who cannot create my body cannot create me. The tongue in its existence can only be the one who can create my body, can create me in a way that I will function with the rest of the human body. So it is necessary to have absolute qualities. I think this reasoning makes us understand that nothing in the universe is inferior to another thing because of the size, because of the seemingly looking simple. No, creation side, as you really interestingly found, repeated creation, because we are talking about the creation side, not that which kind of function I does, tongue does, stomach does, everything is employed in different ways, but in order to create them, the same qualities are needed because they are interrelated, and bring them into existence definitely necessitates the quality to put them within the certain position of the universe, so that the creator must be able to really create the whole universe so that it will create the atom or particle within the universe, perfectly functioning, perfectly located.
Thank you, Brother Ali. This is so important, actually, how this message of the Quran and how this author is sharing about creation. See, that's how the Quran also presents everything from the creational perspective. Khalaq and Khalaq al-insan, creation, keeps repeating it. Because usually in what the civilization and society, we are trained to look from the physical comparisons and seeing the physical qualities, never see the creational existential aspect of things. That's why it's a paradigm shift for us, what the Quran brings to our attention, to see the world, the whole universe, my existence, from a creational perspective. And of course, I don't think science can ever go into the way they are writing books. I've seen some from the 5th, 6th graders. It's just brainwashing them with nothing, not going into the existence part and just talking about the physical attributes and how this is much superior, this better. That's how we are trained actually to look at things, not from a creational perspective again. Sorry for repeating myself. Thank you. Any other comment by anyone before we end the session?
That must be the reason why this materialist, obstinate people are working in investigation of how the things function. They don't say how they came into existence. The simple example, getting away with this essential question, they say, maybe the matter is eternal. But they keep contradicting themselves. They say universe must come out of one atom. And the source of existence of every single thing, every single quality. How come this quality exists? For example, they say animate beings have their instinct to continue to regenerate themselves. But wanting to continue to regenerate themselves is a quality. What is the source of existence of this thing? Where did they get it? How they can be the producer of their own qualities? If they don't exist perfectly, they cannot do anything. If they are perfect, it means they are given existence already perfectly. So my mind goes crazy. I don't know. I have only one reason, that they don't want to submit their existence to a creator. That's it. So they want to be proud of their own qualities as they have these qualities. Otherwise, it doesn't explain anything, what they say, because they don't talk. They don't talk about existence. It is interesting. Source of existence is eternal. Source of existence is endless universes, multiverses. How did you get this idea? Where is it? They say we don't believe in something that you cannot really study in the laboratories. Okay, did you bring the whole multi-universes, endless number of universes exist? What do you mean by endless? The universe itself is limited. There is no endless. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Even the mainstream religions also, they don't talk about existence. What I found out. Somebody was asking me yesterday, I was speaking to someone, he was just, his mouth was open after I said, look at the sun, from how is it there existing? And the movements that we have, our body, yeah, physical body, but how does it exist? Don't just look at the physical things by themselves. And he was just shocked and amazed because existence is not a common word also. Yeah, so it's a lot to be grateful about in terms of how the message of the Quran is bringing our attention to these serious matters.
I think modesty is extremely important. Modesty is the starting point. Accept your reality. Modesty doesn't mean that you have some qualities and don't show it. No, accept your reality, that you need to be created, your feelings need to be created. You cannot claim the ownership of anything on your own name. Your work, your studies, your successes, your profession, they need to be created as well as you need to be created. Modesty is the starting point of really reaching out to God. If I don't follow modesty in my as a principle of my life, even if I say I believe in God, it doesn't really affect my life at all.
Wait, so are we defining modesty here again? We're saying
Accept your reality that you need to be created. Your feelings need to be created. Your successes need to be created. You just want it. You are a beggar. That's it. No more than being a beggar. You and I mean, I'm not saying you, particularly I, have to accept that whatever I learned needs to be created. I just asked. I'm needy. I am needy of existence. I am needy of learning. I am needy of memorizing. I don't know. I am needy of having talents that we call talents. And it means I am needy of being created with some talents. That is modesty. Accept your reality. But we understood practically, maybe not a particular person, I don't know. We may understand that trying to show less than what we really are is modesty. No, we are nothing anyways. Everything is given to us. That's how I understand modesty, although in my practical life, rarely I apply it. But I have to admit that this theoretically, it is difficult for me to be modest. Just at the creational level, if we take everything to their creational level, everything becomes really obvious. But forgetting about or stepping out the existential level, then I say, oh, look, I worked a lot, and that is my success. That is why I am qualified to be a doctor or whatever, or I don't know, successful businessman, whatever you call them. This is my production, as if this is the result of skipping the existential level, thinking at the existential level. That's why these people who reduce everything to natural developments by themselves skip the existential level. I think so. That's my guess. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And as Suhail said, multiverse is just a way to escape this question. Or introducing new devices, new technologies, just to run away from these questions as well. Keeping people busy with certain applications on phones, games, movie shows, TVs, movies, whatever. Just keep busy, new products, new fashion keeps coming. Never think about the existence, creation. And then life just passes by. Astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive us. All right, inshallah, I guess we can stop here for today. Any final thoughts, questions before I close? All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surat al-Fatiha.